I'm Siwapili Rose Amador, and this is Native Voice TV. Well, this evening we have with us one of my favorite guests. Welcome, Garvard Good Plume. In Garvard, give us your background, where you're from.
Well, I'm from Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. We call it Camp 344. And from the Great Sioux Nation, Tetuan Nation. We speak the Lakota language, and I'm the band of the Oglala.
And you're also our jet setter.
Yeah.
Garvard's been all over the country. He's been to United Nations. He's been everywhere, representing your people and fighting for your people. Before we get into some of your travels and what you've been up to, tell us, you know, recently this terrible situation in Sedona with that so-called sweat lodge and charging people and all of that. Give us your take on that.
Well, before I came, when that happened, I talked with a lot of the elders, different elders. They were very upset over that. And some of them were coming down to press charges, I guess. I haven't heard anything about that. But it was really something that was foretold about maybe 2-3 years before that, because people were abusing our spirituality.
Right.
And there was a lot of selling of that and the Sundance, and it was profit making. And when we went to one of our prayer meetings, we were told there that this needs to stop. And if it wasn't, there's going to be a lot of consequences coming up, and things are going to start taking place. And so when this happened, it was kind of like a fear that went throughout the people, realizing that, you know, what they said was going to happen, happened. And it is really something that has been going on our reservation a lot, and our people have been trying to stop it for a long time. And now, when this took place, it's put in a place where the natives are going to be blamed for it. We're going to get the blame, and they'll probably put a law against it and all this stuff. And it's just really...
It's terrible.
We were just devastated by that.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. That they would do something like that. I mean, just...
Yeah, because it's not their way. We have a simple way of doing it. Where I go sweat, where I'm going to say the pure, real Lakota people, speaking people, have their inipi, we call it inipi, giving of life ceremony. It's a purification. It's simple. We don't, they don't burn people in there to see how brave they are to handle the heat. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to cleanse our spirit and our minds and our hearts. It's simple, so we only go like 30 minutes to 45 minutes, depending how many people are in there, who's conducting the ceremony, who's sponsoring the ceremony. So we do it, and then the ones that are running the sweat lodge would ask people who are sick, they're required to go at least one round, or, you know, if you're not comfortable, say so, and they'll let you out. Right. So it's not something that, yeah, it's not a torture chamber. It's a prayer, a prayer type of thing that we go in.
I wanted to bring it up because I know some people have never heard of it except for that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not what it is. And I thought it would be important for, especially on this show, that, you know, that someone talk about it and explain that that's not the culture. That's not what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's not what it's for. It's mostly designed for us. It's our way. And people are picking it up and going after it. And pretty soon it's money making, and it's just a game for them. For us, it's a way of life. And so this is why none of these things ever happen in our sweats. You know, and we heard before this really took place, before it really came out, there were things going on like that in different areas. People were dying in the sweat lodge, Minneapolis, even in South Dakota, people that were probably not called or chosen to do these things. They're just doing it for, you know, lucrative thing. And so it's coming back on them. And the elders would say, Lena wakha, wokok peke. These are very dangerous and they're holy. So we gotta treat it that way. Otherwise, you're going to pay for the consequences. If not you, your family. This is really something that's ancient.
It's serious.
It's nothing that you play with.
Right, exactly. Thanks for talking about that. Now, last time you were here, you were on your way to New York. You were going to be going the following week, and it was, what was it for? Tell us all about that trip.
Oh, we were going to New York because we were on the, I think it was the 46th or 48th session of the UN Assembly, but then it's with the permanent forum that was created for the Indigenous people on the Indigenous people's rights, and I think that was the 8th or 6th session that they were having. And so we were there like 9 days, and there was a lot of issues there, and we went there mostly for human rights violations, treaty violations, and participated in all the side events and try to get all the information we can get.
How many nations were represented there?
Well, they come from the 7 regions of the world. That's through Russia, South America, Central America, Australia, Africa, all different indigenous people, even from Japan. I didn't know they had, indigenous people there. Mongolia, they were all there. We were there and we got to visit. It's like a family reunion, but we were bringing the issues up on the indigenous people's rights because the original text was never passed. And Article 3 and 36 was passed by the Human Rights Commission. And then later on, they abolished the Human Rights Commission and made a Human Rights Council, which passed a watered-down Declaration of Indigenous Peoples' Rights. And so then they put new council on there that voted it in that didn't know what was going on. And we usually had 5 countries that was against the original text, U.S., Canada, England, Australia, New Zealand, and they didn't vote for the new declaration. They said it's too vague, didn't have teeth. The U.S. didn't want to go with it because it was interfering with our laws. So it goes on down like that, and then the people like South America, Central America are complaining that this declaration isn't working. And we have it, but what country and who's going to protect us? There's no protection there again. So permanent forum is a good forum. They bring all the issues, but it's not really, how would you say, it's not really on the ball on the things that are effective. Where we were there, we did a recommendations with the Apaches and the Canadians and the Filipinos and the Hawaiians. We got together and we put in a recommendation that the Permanent Forum United Nations would look into our waters, our contaminated waters, uranium, all this. So the World Health Organization was asked to come to all the reservations and different indigenous areas to look into all this. So that's one good thing that happened there.
So they did follow through with that, though.
Yeah, that recommendation, and that was really, well, we were surprised they were doing that. I mean, it's just because they were playing with the rest of the stuff. They stretch everything, and I really felt bad for the South American people, like the Mapuches of Chile, Brazil. And after the meeting there, we heard that there was a massacre in Brazil with some of the people that were at the UN,
really?
And
because they
spoke out. Yeah, they spoke out. So a lot of these things are going on. I got to meet people, the chief from Brazil, Africa, Lebanon, Algeria. They're all going through the same thing we're going through. So when we look at it, it's like a second colonialism coming upon. They're talking about development. And then the U.S. said they couldn't help us. Our spokesperson wouldn't talk about it, but it really made me feel bad because here we were struggling. We have human rights violations, treaty violations. We go there and we talk, and then the UN says, we can't help you because you're...